today on today's episode of the Explore Orlando podcast, we are talking all about Epic Universe and specifically the rides coming to Epic Universe. There are technically 11 attractions coming to Epic Universe. Now,
Wow.
This does not count shows. This does not count entertainment. This does not count dining, restaurants, which in my opinion are attractions in themselves.
Sure.
But nonetheless, we're not going to talk about bars for the 500th time on our sixth episode.
No promises.
Yeah, we really like bringing up theme park bars on this podcast. I've noticed that. But nonetheless, we'll save another episode for Epic Universe bars.
That is pretty wild, though. So you said how many actual attractions or technical attractions?
Yeah, so there's 11 rides coming to Epic
rides.
Universe.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So if you had to say just entirely how many different, because you want to say attractions, but how many different offerings are there in totality? Is there a guess? I know there's no way. I mean, that's kind of on the spot question, but how much different things do you think Epic Universe is going to have to offer entirely?
Yeah, that's the cool thing about, theme parks in general is sometimes there's no finite number, right? Because sometimes they add like limited time offerings. Sometimes there's character meet and greets that they didn't initially announce that come out. So all encompassing, there's got to be well over 24 different things to see and do, maybe more, maybe closer to 36. And when you count, these character interactions and shows. And for example, Ministry of Magic, that is a land that really only has one ride in it. So on the surface, that might get fans a little nervous. Like, what do you mean there's only one ride in that giant Harry Potter?
Right.
But there's supposed to be several shows and so many different engaging shops and dining experiences that it's just going to be so engaging, it'll almost make you forget there's only one ride.
No doubt. And even that analogy, I don't know in terms of space how big it is compared to Diagon Alley, but very similar in that aspect, right? I think there's only one actual ride in Diagon Alley, but there's so many different things going on throughout that you can be immersed and entertained and not be on the ride.
Well, I think it kind of speaks, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I think, in my opinion, the theming of a land is almost more important than how many attractions are actually in it. You can have a poorly themed land with multiple attractions in it, and nobody cares.
Yes.
Because Diagon Alley, for example, at Universal, has one ride. However, most people will tell you it's the greatest themed land on the planet.
For sure. It would be interesting to see how many people didn't even want to go ride the ride, and
they
just
don't
wanted
even care.
Exactly right. So no, I totally agree that immersive experience of walking into somewhere and not actually feeling like you're in Orlando is unbeatable. I definitely think that's the right approach for the parks.
Yeah, and I think theme parks in general are leaning more and more into this idea of like escapism, like lands that are not just, oh, look, there's a photo of a character I like, so we're in this land. Yeah. It's more like, no, we are putting you in the movie.
For sure.
Like, we want you to feel like you've actually, like, holy crap, where am I?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, Pandora at Animal Kingdom does another great job of that. Like, when you walk into Pandora, the world of Avatar at Animal Kingdom, you're like, am I still in Florida right now? Like,
for sure. It really is. I think that and Diagon Alley are probably, even Star Wars.
And Hogsmeade too.
I guess it's pretty equal. Because in any of those instances, you do feel like you're immersed. You don't feel like you're in Orlando.
It's true.
But no, I will say, just feeding off of the Avatar, that very much so. I mean, even to making the different, objects or different pieces of that planet feel like they're floating. Yeah, really makes you feel like, whoa, we're definitely not even on planet Earth here, which is wild.
I know. It's really, really amazing. And that's one of the things I'm probably most looking forward to with these theme parks is how they pull that off, how they sort of, when it comes to Epic Universe, I guess what I'm saying is I'm just excited to see how immersive these lands really are. Like, are they going to be putting you in the films the way they do with the Harry Potter worlds, or are they just building these lands with some rides in it and you can recognize where you are? Because every single photo and behind the scenes I've seen, it seems like we're actually getting like multiple themed lands on the level of Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade, which, if that happens, we're talking about quite possibly one of the greatest theme parks on the planet.
I couldn't agree more, and I do think that's what we're in for here. I believe, because I mean, you're literally going to be walking through portals, so that tells me, instantly that you're going to be walking from that central area, which is probably going to be like a normal theme park where you just feel like you're kind of there. You're in Orlando, it's celestial, but once you walk into those different portals, once you come on the other side, you're gonna be like, "Whoa, where am I?" So I think that that's definitely going to be the case here with Epic Universe.
Amazing. All right, well, let's jump into the actual episode here today in terms of going over what we're going to do. Is we're going to go over every single ride that's coming to Epic Universe. We'll talk about it briefly at the very end. If we have some time, we'll talk about what we're most looking forward to and things of that nature. But starting off with Celestial Park. So Celestial Park is the one of 5 theme lands coming to Epic Universe, and it is the only original themed land in the sense where it's not based off of an IP.
Okay.
Which I think is great. I think more theme parks need to have these original theme lands that aren't just based off of a famous movie. That's what made Magic Kingdom so iconic when it first opened. It's what makes a lot of theme parks great, is now you get to a point when you do that and you do it well, you have movies that are actually based off of theme park rides and theme park lands instead of the opposite, which I think is cool.
That is cool.
So jumping right into it, Celestial Park, it will have a carousel. Now, most people are thinking, okay, Jared, who cares about a theme park carousel? There's carousels in like every single theme park on the planet.
Yeah.
However, this is supposed to be the most gorgeous carousel in any theme park ever. It's supposed to have a unique figure 8 path, which I think is really, really cool.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how that works.
Figure 8 path. I didn't even know that was...
I don't know. Look, I don't know if I just haven't had enough coffee today, but I'm trying to map out in my brain how it crosses.
Yeah. No, that would be... I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah.
But I guess it does make sense. I could see a track that's in an 8, and it's the timing of the...
Like, is someone
still
is someone going down and then someone going up?
I don't know. If somebody's watching that knows, please throw it in the comments and help us understand how this works.
Because we probably sound like idiots.
No, we definitely do.
But needless to say, I am super happy that a carousel is going to be here, because Universal really, at their other 2 parks, don't really have carousels outside of the Dr. Seuss one. And carousels are great because it's really the introductory ride for kids, right?
Sure.
You can bring your baby on a carousel.
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
Which is hugely important.
But I don't know if a figure 8 carousel.
Yeah, now I'm kind of nervous about it. Even I'm scared to go on it. I'm like, whoa, where is this thing going? I know it's going 2 miles an hour.
I don't know if I can take my 1-year-old on
out of nowhere. I'm going to get nervous. After a few drinks, I'm going to get out of that figure 8 carousel and be like, whoa,
right?
Where are we going
It's
right
like
now?
I throw my 1-year-old on there. I'm like, I'm not sure if this is appropriate.
Yeah. No, in all seriousness, there's no height restrictions, guys, so anybody can ride this one.
Okay, good to know.
In all seriousness, basically, what I love about carousels is, again, it's for the whole family. There's no height restrictions. It's really your first introduction. I love going through a theme park, and you stop for a second every once in a while. You'll see like a baby or a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old. It's their first ride ever, and they're just lit up.
Yep.
Like holding the bar of the
it's
carousel.
It's like core memory unlocked.
Oh, yeah. And you see the parents are just as lit up because they're seeing the theme parks through their child's eyes.
Yeah.
And apparently it's going to be like stunning, like constellation, like stars, and just it's going to be so cool to see that at nighttime. I'm excited to film that at nighttime.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to be so pretty, but
yeah.
Nonetheless, that's going to be great.
It'd be interesting to see where it's located too, because again, I try to see the map of the park, but where is it going to be next to like the water show? Or because when you say that, like in terms of like trying to visualize it, like you're on this carousel, there's lights or there's stars above you, and then if you're looking out, is like the water fountain going on in the background.
I know.
I'm just trying, you try to visualize it.
I know, it's true, and with the carousel in Magic Kingdom, for example, you get like the back set of the castle.
Right.
So it's super engaging when it comes to like views. So I'm excited to see how they do that, because what is Epic Universe's like iconic landmark? Because Magic Kingdoms is the castle,
Yeah.
you know. So Epic Universe, it's obviously going to be like that giant. I don't even know what to call it.
Like fountain or like a water display,
or like the giant,
like the clock,
Helios
like the tower
tower.
coming in. Yes,
Exactly.
Okay, I was thinking that.
That's probably going to be the main thing to look at. But
I was thinking that, not to take us off track here, but I was thinking that. But then again, like if you go to Vegas, for example, you know, they have that water display in front of the Bellagio. So I feel like if the water display is really incredible, that might be the centerpiece, right?
look, I love that. I love a good theme park fountain and or waterfall.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, but I think they're great. And I think having a huge one would be super cool for a theme park.
No doubt.
So moving on, the other major attraction here in Celestial Park, of course, is going to be Stardust Racers. We have talked about Stardust in the past.
Yes.
But the fact that we are getting an actual dueling coaster, it's made by the same company who created Velocicoaster.
I didn't know that until you told me that the other day.
From what I read up upon. If I'm wrong, go ahead and roast me in the comments.
It makes sense. It makes sense. When you told me, I was like, oh, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I never got to experience Dueling Dragons, and I always wanted to. But I have friends who always spoke so fondly about it.
Yeah.
Of course, we got Hagrid, so it's not like we missed out.
Right.
But regardless, I'm super excited about this experience. The dueling coasters, when you look at the footage, it's incredible. The whole like star and like constellation backdrop of that area, again, I think it's going to look so cool at nighttime. I mean, it's going to be pretty sweet, and for lack of better terminology, epic, some would say.
That was a good segue. Now, I will say, we mentioned this again before on the pod. We will in the future, too, especially with this new ride coming. But Dueling Dragons was something extremely legendary. And it was interesting finding out that you never had the chance to ride that. But
Yeah.
I would imagine this is going to be taking that to the next level.
For sure.
So, like you said, Hagrid's you can't beat. Definitely worth the replacement. Some may disagree with that, but that Hagrid is so amazing. But to be able to get a dueling coaster similar to Dueling Dragons in this new park is going to be something that, you know, people that have never ridden Dueling Dragons before are going to be excited for, and the people that have are going to be excited for as well to kind of have that memory again.
No, I think having a major thrill ride here is important, obviously, and frankly, Universal does not miss when it comes to their roller coasters. So I have the utmost faith that this is going to be an incredible coaster. So that was Stardust Racers, and moving onwards to Dark Universe here, of course, the entire themed land dedicated to classic monsters. It's going to be really, really cool. But first of all, we got the Curse of the Werewolf. This is a family spinning coaster and offers a less intense option, which is kind of cool too, because when you think about it, I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's like two different versions you can ride.
Yeah.
Or if that just means like the ride itself is a less intense option.
Okay.
But I was reading it in like two different ways.
And what kind of ride is it, or what kind of attraction is it?
So it's a family coaster.
A family
coaster, but it does like spin a little bit apparently.
Okay.
So like I don't know. It's that part of me thought of like Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's like too intense. I've thought about, you know, various different spinning coasters in the past, but I do like that there's more of a family coaster in a land that is really not aimed really at kids and the families. I think it's a great way to kind of like the adults can convince their little kids like, hey, I know it's scary in there, but there's a coaster that you can ride. Like, come on. Right. And the dad just wants to get a beer at Burning Blade Tavern. Like, I just want to see this. Come on. Get in the land.
It's probably so true. It's exactly what they're doing.
To figure out some way to get these kids in there. Yeah. They're like, crap. We eliminated a huge chunk of our fan base here. Make the coaster family. Like,
make it a family coaster.
Put a werewolf on it and make it family.
Oh shoot, that's funny.
I don't know, but I am excited for it, and it's great that there's two attractions in here because the other attraction is really the main event. This is called Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment. It is a dark ride, but apparently it has some of the most advanced animatronics in the world. So I've seen some of the behind the scenes videos they've released.
Same.
It looks so incredible. It really does. So I don't know about you, but that's one of the most exciting rides I think that is coming to the entire park. When I think of Epic Universe, I think of Monsters Unchained. I think about this revolutionary ride that might change dark rides forever. I think of the facade. Have you seen this castle that they built?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's incredible. I'm looking at it. I'm like, how have they built this just for like the exterior of a ride?
Yeah.
It's the amount of care and money that they've put into this. It really gives me a lot of faith that they're not messing around.
Yeah, no doubt. It's gonna be cool for you too, because I'm not too much into the what would you say, monsters. I don't want to say industry, but like I don't watch many movies. Genre. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Thank you.
He needs more coffee, guys. Sorry.
I know, right? Need more coffee. But no, for you, I've heard you say multiple times how excited you are about that. So it'll be cool just seeing like your experience or you sharing if we're not able to go that first day to the park with the wives to go over there. But it'll be interesting to see what your take is on it. Because for me, that's I guess what I'm trying to get at is it's just like that monsters genre, which I think is cool, but I'm not like, wow, I'd find it interesting. But if you're really like, no Frankenstein or you're into that genre, you're going to appreciate it more, right?
Yeah, and the funny thing is I'm not like a horror fan. Like I am scared crapless out of horror nights. Yeah. And when my wife wants to watch scary movies in September and October, I'm like, ugh, gotta grab like a drink to get through this movie. Yeah. I'm totally a little... scaredy cat. I don't know how else to put it. I am terrified of scary things. However, I do have an appreciation for the genre, and I have appreciation for the classic horror like elements, like the original monsters that they're focusing on. I think it's genius that Universal is doing this because we talked about this in the last podcast episode, how Universal has all these classic properties that they don't really utilize anymore. Yeah. And the fact that they're building a land essentially based off of properties that are like 60, 70 years old, I think it's great. I think that part of it is cool, that we're getting Frankenstein, we're getting Werewolf, we're getting Creature from the Black Lagoon, we're getting these like old characters that like are being rejuvenated into the modern theme park. Yeah. So that part's cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
But moving onwards over to Isle of Berk, of course, this is going to be a more kids-centric, family-centric park for How to Train Your Dragon. But we got 3 attractions coming to this land. First of all, the Dragon Racers Rally. This is a flat ride. It's a skyfly ride and can be mild or wild. I was seeing it. It looks almost like those rides you see at a carnival, but like far more advanced. Like literally you're way up in the air, kind of back and forth flying. And it looks like you can either choose the mild section or the wild, which I'm happy about because it like incentivizes adults who might want to go on a more crazier attraction or the teenagers. But that's going to be a lot of fun. Another one in Isle of Berk is Fire Drill. This is a very kids-centric. There's no height limit on this. It's called, essentially, it's like an interactive boat ride. You're moving very slowly, but you get to essentially there's water features, and it's good for little kids and the whole family. Universal needs more attractions like this. Nice. But the main attraction that is coming to Isle of Berk is going to be called Hiccup's Wing Gliders. It's a family coaster, but it is supposed to be very similar to Hagrid's. The theming looks incredible. It's a full-blown, like, I think it's going to be one of those like coasters like Big Thunder, or again like Hagrid's, where you go on it thinking like, oh, this isn't that intense, and then you go on it, you're like, whoa, that moved way faster than I was gonna go. Yeah. So super excited for that one. I'm excited for this land. Frankly, it keeps skyrocketing up my rankings of what I'm most excited for. I mean, I don't know, very excited for Isle of Berk in general. Yeah. And also, everybody in the comments roast Brian because he hasn't watched the How to Train Your Dragon movies.
I haven't. How did you know that?
You said it previously.
No.
Yeah, you did.
You must have. My wife must have fed you intel. There's no way. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna message her after this episode and say force him to watch these movies. Okay,
That's
they might
funny.
seem like little kids movies, but they're extremely good. All 3 of them have over 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is very rare for a trilogy. So very good movies, especially before we go. You gotta go. Yeah. And then moving on, of course, we talked a little bit about Ministry of Magic already, but the Battle of Ministry of Magic. It's going to be a dark ride. It's less screen-based, and this is going to be the primary attraction coming to the Ministry of Magic, the new Harry Potter-themed land coming to Epic Universe. Again, I have heard nothing but incredible things from behind the scenes. Apparently, it's going to be revolutionary. They released photos of inside the queue, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I saw those photos. I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Just the experience.
But I think one thing you can say, too, Brian, is like when it comes to Harry Potter attractions at any of the Harry Potter lands, they don't miss. They really just don't miss.
Yeah, it's pretty spot on.
So, I don't know. I don't think we have anything to be concerned about with this one.
No, no doubt. They already crushed 2 different experiences that are going to be very similar to that. I can only imagine. And even some of the stuff I've seen, some of the statistics, I think they were saying like the height of that actual world is going to be higher. I don't want to say 2 times higher, but going to have better elevation than what they already have. Which would make it even more immersive. So, again, there was analogies of like how the shortest building in the new one is as tall as the tallest building in the other attractions. And I could be mistaken there. But it's definitely going to be bigger and better, which is a lot to say considering how good the other ones already are.
Look, all I know is that this ride is based off of the trial of Dolores Umbridge, and I think we can all accept the fact that she is one of the most hateable characters in any film franchise ever. Every time I watch that movie, I want to fast forward to the end because I hate her so much. I hate her more than Voldemort. I can't believe you said the word. I said the word, but that's how much I hate her. I the name doesn't even scare me anymore because I say her name and I get frightened.
Wow.
So anyways, we get to go after Dolores on this ride, and that's what matters. All right, last but not least, let's talk about Nintendo. We had a hard cut on the timing of the cameras at 30 minutes, and we wanted to do a longer episode. So we're jumping right back in, all right, because we want to spend time talking about the very last land when it comes to all of the rides coming to Epic Universe, and that is probably the most anticipated, at least globally, and that's Super Nintendo World. I know how excited people are for this land, and obviously we have gotten glimpses of what this land will be like with Universal Japan, and we've gotten a smaller version of this land out in Universal Hollywood. However, having Donkey Kong Kingdom and that whole section of the park is something that's only in Japan. So it's super exciting for the domestic theme parks. And there's a total of 3 attractions coming to Nintendo World. But first of all, Brian, where does Nintendo World rank on your rankings of like how excited you are? Because I don't know if you're like a big Nintendo person growing up.
Honestly, it's going to be like probably top 2.
Yeah.
Again, seeing the new Harry Potter version of what they're going to put together at Epic is going to be dope. But I'd probably say it's number 2. Just because, again, I grew up playing Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart. So that's going to be cool to see. Even still, like you can make like adult version games of playing
For sure.
Mario Kart. I think there's been one where you have a beer with your buddies and you got to see whoever finishes first has to drink it. So I've even played it in the last couple of years. So yes, nostalgia is definitely there with Mario Kart. And again, even with Donkey Kong, seeing that it's going to have a track jump. I've just seen some features of the logistics on how they're developing that ride. So short answer, probably, it could be number 1 or 2.
Yeah, no, look, I remember being in college and playing Mario Kart.
That's what it is. That's what it was called. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and everybody had like different rules for how they play it, but no, it's legit, and Nintendo is such a huge part of so many of our childhoods. So the fact that we're going to see all this come to life, and especially the Donkey Kong stuff, because that Donkey Kong coaster, I might as well jump into that first. That's going to be called Donkey Kong Minecart Madness. It is a family coaster, but what's so unique about it is that essentially it's all new technology where they make it seem like it's skipping entire parts of the track.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, essentially, the track is going to be longer and taller than you think because it's not skipping the track. It's just parts of the taller track are going to be missing.
Right.
But it's still going down below.
Right. I can't imagine that feeling. And again, I think I'd seen like the renderings of this like months, even I think before even Epic was released. This might have been like 2019. I saw like the OG kind of like the buildings and how it works. But I just imagine in that moment when I was looking at this, I'm like, they're building this, and that feeling of actually feeling like you're going over a track that's non-existent.
Yeah.
I think it's something that's been in like, maybe like everybody's like, you know, you dream about it, or I guess you have a bad dream or scared. You're like, oh, what if the track wasn't there? But they're actually doing it. And that feeling is going to be probably one of the cooler things to experience.
Absolutely. There's ride POVs already out from the attraction out in Japan. And I saw like the section where they go over the water and you see no track, but there's just water underneath you.
Oh, is that okay? Is
It's
that a
like,
thing?
yeah,
That's gonna happen?
That looks terrifying to me as an adult. So the fact that this is a family, kids-friendly coaster, I don't know. They might want to relabel that. No, it's gonna be awesome. That's obviously gonna be probably the main attraction. The other two attractions in this land, you got Yoshi's Adventure. This is a very slow-moving, no heights, kind of like the People Mover for Nintendo World.
Okay.
It's Yoshi bringing you around on a little slow-moving train around the land, which is great for kiddos, bringing your baby, bringing, you know, toddlers, you know, first kids' introductions into a theme park.
Yeah.
They're going to love that. Honestly, a lot of dads are just going to want to be like, all right, I'm going to go chill on that thing.
Go take a nap.
Get a break. Too much stimulation with the in-laws. I don't know, whatever. No, you know, I don't know. It seems like a nice little relaxing, calm ride. And honestly, I'm excited to do it at nighttime because one of the things I love about the Tomorrowland People Mover is it's like two totally different experiences, day and night. When you're going around at nighttime and you see the castle lit up, and even when you catch it during fireworks, that's really epic too.
Yeah.
So whenever there's nighttime in Nintendo World and it's all lit up, and you're going around on the slow-moving ride, I think that's going to be really nice.
That's a good point. You almost have, glad you said that, because you don't really think about that, but it really is a ride that gives you multiple experiences, one during the day and one at night. I really thought about it like that.
Yeah, we actually just uploaded a ride POV of the People Mover on our YouTube channel, and when I was looking up other ride POVs that people had posted, there's channels who do like one daytime POV and one nighttime POV. Yeah. And the nighttime one almost gets more views than the daytime one because people like the vibes of like when it's all lit up and people are walking around just having their dinners, end of the evening. Yeah. A lot of people like to end their Magic Kingdom days with a ride on a People Mover.
And I don't blame them. That actually does. I might add that to my next Magic Kingdom visit. I'm like, all right, instead of standing at the fireworks, go ride the People Mover.
Absolutely.
Enjoy it from there.
It's pretty sweet. So, and then last but not least, obviously getting to ride an actual Mario Kart ride. Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, going into Bowser's Castle and things like that. This is a dark ride, but it is you essentially riding the Mario Kart ride. Now, I know people have seen the POVs and they're like, it doesn't go fast enough and there's not actual bananas on the ground and I didn't get hit with a shell, which first of all, it's a little concerning. You want all that to happen.
Yeah, right? But the insurance rate at Epic Universe is going to skyrocket. The liability of this ride.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember, this land is going to be as great as it is for adults. Nintendo World is going to be heavily aimed towards children, and the fact that all three rides are rides that a lot of kids will be able to enjoy is awesome. I think one of the things that Universal has been trying to really kick up into high gear is offering more of these family attractions, more family lands. We're seeing it recently with Universal Studios, with Minion Land, and now DreamWorks Land. They want to jump into that realm of offering more things for kids and the whole family because Universal historically was a much more adult-centric theme park compared to Disney. But now they're like, hold on, there's a lot of kids out there. Let's get into this little universe here. So I don't know. It's going to be cool, and I'm excited to ride the Mario Kart ride regardless, even if it doesn't go a billion miles an hour. Frankly, I don't need that. Honestly, I'm getting old. Yeah,
no doubt. No, that's hilarious. I think we even mentioned, too, it's like it's not going to like, you're not going to Andretti, you know? This is it's not like an outdoor actual like go-kart track. It's a visual experience that's simulating that you're in.
Yeah, shout out Andretti. If you do want to go to Andretti, feel free to check that out. It is
please enter promo code.
Yeah, please enter promo code EO Go Kart.
EO Go Go.
No.
No.
But Andretti, if you're watching this, invite us over there. We'll definitely cover you.
Please.
Just
We'd
so you
love
guys
to be an
know,
affiliate.
there actually is an Andretti. Just might as well talk about it. Andretti is like indoor go-karting, and it's actually going to be located like 4 minutes from Epic Universe.
It is.
So,
that actually is something that I think is worth an entire pod, is what iDrive has to offer, and Universal, the new Epic Universe being there, how easily that is tied into that area.
For sure.
Whereas before, people don't want to make a separate trip from Universal to there, I would imagine, for the most part. But now, if you're at Epic Universe or in any of those hotels, you are essentially a walk away. I mean, it's that close.
Absolutely. Plus, you have Point Orlando, which is right down the street, which is a huge collection of bars and restaurants. There's a giant movie theater there. There's a bowling alley with arcades. There's so much to do on iDrive, and it's so close. And I'm excited for the entire area because there's a lot of businesses there that actually have kind of died down in terms of their popularity.
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to rejuvenate the whole area.
I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more. I think that whole area, that, like, I don't know if it's still called Icon Park. I should know that. I know it changed names a couple times. But that whole area is going to flourish. I really believe that, and for the better. It's such a great area, but yeah, it's sometimes hard to get tourists there, and that is very much connecting Universal to really a little bit closer, like part of Orlando, for lack of better words there.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's going to be spectacular, and I'm just stoked about that entire region and how it can benefit. I used to live over there. I used to actually live in the apartment directly next door to Stella Nova. Like, you could throw a rock and hit that apartment. Rent prices increased, by the way.
Yeah.
But either way, the point is that there's little breweries and cupcake businesses that I met the owners. They're wonderful people, and they used to even talk to me about, like, we're just going to hang on here.
Wow.
Just give it a little bit because we're going to have so much more foot traffic once Epic opens. And they're so right. They are.
They really are.
And I'm happy for those smaller businesses too. But either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Sorry for the costume change midway through. We just like to keep you guys on your toes.
Yep.
Honestly, I told Brian like 30 minutes in, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need a hat on.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
Yeah, it was a hat, and again, the underarms were getting really sweaty. The audience here is so massive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on this one.
Yeah, you guys probably can't tell, but we have a live audience here right now. There's dozens, hundreds of people.
We got 2 fans here.
Wow, that was a solid dad joke.
Yep.
All right. He's talking about ceiling fans.
You'll get there. You'll get there. You'll get there.
It's true. But in any event, if you guys enjoyed this podcast episode, please do hit that subscribe button and check out our channel for more of our video podcasts. As of right now, our podcasts go live on YouTube, but down the line, we do hope to have audio versions of our podcast that will go live on every audio platform you get your podcast. On top of that, we have been posting ride POV videos to our YouTube channel, so feel free to check those out. They're filmed in 4K, so from both Disney parks and Universal. And then, of course, we're going to have vlogs and more YouTube content down the line as well. So definitely check out the rest of our YouTube channel. And if you're new to Explore Orlando in general, we do go live on our TikTok page several days a week. And we post new theme park related videos twice a day, every single day.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and can't wait to see you guys on many more, and we can't wait to go on every single one of these rides here in Epic Universe. Just might need a little bit of liquid courage to go in the Dark Universe ones because I'm terrified, but it's going to be great.
Awesome. Good stuff.
See you on the next episode.